trying to handle like work and college and stuff, but it's fine.
You just had a test?
Yeah,
How'd it go?
I already had. It was fine. It was fine, but it was like kind of a different course that I usually do. Like I do electrical engineering, but it was like a mechanical one, so it's a little different. But it was fine.
That's so cool. I would love to learn that kind of stuff, like mechanical engineering.
Yeah, it's nice, and you end up like having other applications, even in like software development. There are a few things on like electrical engineering and even mechanics that you end up applying. It's really nice. It's really nice.
Yeah, I think there's some patterns that cross over between disciplines. I know there's a famous book for software engineering called Design Patterns, and I think those patterns come from like civil engineering and mechanical engineering. It's the same kind of abstraction concepts to like architect code as it is to actually architect machines and buildings and stuff.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Even like digital infrastructure,
Yeah.
like you end up having like similarities with like like material infrastructure.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Oh, I saw your branch in the DC hedge params in there.
Mhm.
So like it's working right. So I haven't had the time to merge to the master yet. But like I made a few changes in there. So you think it's better like trying to make maybe merging it or changing it like locally? I was thinking about it.
Yeah, it could be merged. I mean, I think a lot of the other code that's in there now is kind of like deprecated. I mean, it could probably just be deleted. Like the other, because I merged the hatch and the impact hours, and I think the mer, the combined version is better. So I think that other code is pretty much like deprecated. It could be deleted, and I think we can have a really clean tech module. So we have
Yeah, I agree.
the hatch and the dandelion voting. So it's just two components, and I think that makes so much more sense than what we had before.
Yeah, yeah. You go get away from like the visualization separation, go more for a real separation, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. So are you presenting that next week in the community call?
I'm not sure, but like I talked to Riff, and the idea was having this finished until like next Monday. So yeah, I think we are gonna present this in the next committee call.
Excellent. I think it's good timing because I think all the contracts are. I know they've been saying they're having some big bug, or something that they're trying to iron out in the contracts, but I think that's going to be resolved soon. I think everything's going to be ready. Like it's really good timing that we have this Hatch dashboard with the voting all ready to go, and I think the smart contracts are all ready to go. So everything's like lined up in parallel.
Yeah, it's a good timing.
Hey, Mark and Metaverde, welcome.
Hello,
Hi,
hello.
hi.
How are you guys doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, a little bit tired, but
Yeah,
Everybody
how can
is.
you find the time, Sean, for all this stuff? Because
I.
if I need you, you're always offline.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. It's a perpetual struggle. I mean, I'm always thinking I'm getting ahead. Like, okay, I've carved out an extra 3 hours in my week, by handing off this one project, and then I think I'm gonna have so much available time, and then something else comes up. Like this whole. So right now it's the office hours based. This is a different kind of lab. It's gonna be more open ended, and anyone can just bring topics. It's gonna be about the gitcoin research that's happening, and I didn't even realize I was getting involved in this gitcoin research track. I was just kind of talking to Angela, and then all of a sudden I realized, oh, I'm enrolled, and I have to.
Yeah, but Angela is a star in getting you lured in.
Yes, she's certainly good at that. That's her talent. Yep. But it's all for the best. I'm definitely happy to be a part of this. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, but I watched an earlier recording of you presenting the reinforcement learning agent in the academic session. I recall, and Zargam was saying, "Oh yeah, well, basically you are doing some sort of an attack vector or an attacking agent." And I think, well, yeah, this is a really nice aspect of doing open science, because maybe these guys haven't thought about getting your research also on the other half of the spectrum, the bad guys. How are they? Because you are now trying to build up your defense in maybe tweaking around with the quadratic funding algorithms, but on the other hand, there are also all sorts of other guys trying to attack this quadratic funding algorithm in the first place, or playing around with it.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right. I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of people looking at it, thinking about how they could, how they can game it. And it is this kind of two-edged sword, like maybe playing around with adversarial models in public, in open, because it allows us and the Gitcoin team to explore what are the vulnerabilities, but you're right, it's also publishing all the vulnerabilities right away, right? So I it deserves some consideration. And I've been thinking about this for some time, like in the work that I'm really interested in, and Mark, you've shown a lot of interest, is this intersection of AI and token engineering. It's almost like just too powerful, and I think it deserves serious like guardrails from sort of
Hello.
ethics communities. Hi, Angela. Nice to have
Right.
you. Um, yeah, I think so. I think the work that Sebnum is doing with spinning up the working group on Omega, it's the Omega working group, which is sort of the ethics and assumptions that we have about token engineering. And I think this kind of work is really important when we start to yield these very powerful tools. So Mark was just saying, like, it's nice to have this open science venue that we can explore these sort of adversarial models, but we have to also be aware that, well, if there are, people out there in the world who are looking for how to collude, and they start watching these research track videos, and they see the repo with reinforcement learning, well, it's a two-edged sword, right? Because we can use it to explore the vulnerabilities, but also people can grab it and use it as well to actually utilize vulnerabilities. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of the pros and cons of the open research aspect.
Openness.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
openness. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there are many pros and cons in this openness, actually. I haven't actually, Mark, that's a good hint. I haven't looked at it from that angle. I mean, when it comes to these tools, reinforcement learning and agent, I just wonder if people who are able to utilize reinforcement learning to attack, for example, Gitcoin grants, if they would really need our sessions. You know what I mean? Of course, the other way around, okay. I mean, this okay, I'm building this and then I will walk away with this profit. I'm not sure if we can provide that kind of clear instructions in the sessions. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So this is
whether intentional or not, we can leave some
yeah,
obfuscation.
exactly.
So we can, I mean, we don't want to have an end product that is, here's the reinforcement learning agents that exploit the
Exactly.
system.
Here's a model.
Yeah.
Just plug it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, for the good and the bad of it, I would, of course, it would be awesome to have such a clearly shaped end result in this research group. However, not sure if we really able to build this. But yeah, in general, I think it's valuable thought. Okay, what about this openness and?
But then again, you can also train a reinforcement learning agent on the good side, like an agent that is tracking colluding behavior and counteracting on that
And I
by
think
altering the algorithm or do some sort of not pairwise, what was it, pairwise quadratic funding algorithm, but triple wise or quadruple wise or octagonal wise. Just to evenly distribute. Okay, but then again, you are really hacking into the algorithm itself, and I'm not sure if that's the whole idea of the gitcoin philosophy.
Yeah.
But maybe Sean, I think you mentioned some sort of picture of the I think the Gitcoin goals or something like that, or the like the United Nations goals.
Well, this is something I've thought about a lot. I was working
Yeah.
for a startup company in 2019 called the First Green Bank Network, and they were just trying to connect all sorts of sort of green finance institutions and put forward these green bonds, and they were doing a lot of research on blockchain. So some of my work there was directly working with the UN data and the SDGs and all the metrics and indicators that they have for those. And so I'm familiar with the sort of architecture that they have of having it's like hierarchical, right? There's 7 goals, and then for each goal you break it up into metrics that we can track. And then for each metric, you break that up into indicators that are the actual sort of data feeds that we're tracking. And we can almost do, it's not like all the indicators we need them to go up. Some of them we need to go up, some we need to go down. So it kind of becomes like a machine learning problem. But I like this architecture, and I brought it up in one of the blog posts on the TEC for tracking. I forget what the exact context was. I think it was like people were discussing source cred, and I was thinking about, okay, what are our highest level missions and goals, and then can we break those down into the data sets that we have to be used as indicators. And I was just kind of throwing that idea out there, and it was nice to see that it got picked up. Someone found that really interesting and expanded on it, and some people started kind of fleshing out that thread. But I think that works because it's a really good model. And then when I saw the high level missions, sort of mission objectives of Gitcoin, I realized, yep, that's the same kind of architecture. For each of those, you could flesh them out into metrics and then have actual data indicators. So that could be a whole nother project, I guess.
Yeah, it would be nice to put that in that Kumu stuff thing, maybe.
Oh yeah, and I think actually this also rang a bell when I looked at it in your presentation on Tuesday, since I was here and there, I was trying to collect, okay, what my observations, what happened over the rounds of Gitcoin grants we had with token engineering and GE Academy. And I haven't put it down, but maybe I would be able to. I've tried to remember what are the patterns in activities, like, okay, somebody owning an owner of a grant is contributing to our grant. Okay, I take a look at it. Okay, his contribution, of course, is a nice reminder to do it vice versa. Bang, you have this pairwise funding. Then I'll send out emails to our network and ask for, can you please contribute? And of course, those people will click a link with the collection, and then all perhaps don't change the values in the cart and just click donate, and it's fine. But then there you have a pattern, and it looks like, okay, is this collusion? And then I got this overview on, okay, what are your actual goals? Defined in, okay, it's about giving, it's about supporting tinier projects that might not be able to attract VC funding. It's about this ecosystem purpose of Gitcoin grants. And there I found perhaps it's much more relevant to define, to break down these objectives to the Gitcoin grants area and case, and then see for metrics. Because, I mean, of course, you might want to, let's say, we start, project starts very early, just 3 developers, no community. Over 2, 3, 4, 5 Gitcoin grants round, they develop their community, they professionalize their communications, and suddenly are able to activate 100, 200 people to donate. And since they are lazy, they just click. And we have very similar donation patterns. Now, I wouldn't say this is collusion. I would rather say this is not the area of, this is not a pattern you want to support, since those projects are already grown up and they should maybe acquire different sources of funding. But this is then, it's not collusion prevention, it's rather defining your key focus area of projects. And still, it's about metrics, and still it's about optimizing quadratic funding. Perhaps not sure if this could be the algorithm. It's rather about implementing, then fostering particular or supporting particular patterns and reducing the effectiveness of other patterns. But I feel, well, taking a step back, I feel this is actually an area where I see optimization for Gitcoin grants.
Yeah, I think, Angela, you're referring a bit to the Matthew effect, what you're describing right now, because actually, if a project is that popular that it attracts 200 donations, then it should be self-sustaining. It doesn't need that kind of funding anymore or something like that.
I mean, the Matthew effect then would be a metric to see what's the distribution of strategies or of funding patterns. Of course, that could be one, and there could be other metrics.
So, what exactly is the Matthew effect? Is this sort of like a community has outgrown they don't require the Gitcoin grants, or they have the ability, kind of how Angela was saying, they've professionalized their community, so they have the ability to recruit 200 people to vote on their grant, and it's sort of not aligned with the purpose of the Gitcoin grants, which is to fund these smaller projects that can't quite acquire funding elsewhere. Is this sort of the Matthew effect, or?
Well, the Matthew effect is accumulated advantage. So rich getting richer and poor getting
okay.
poorer.
Oh, yeah.
So if you already see, for one example would be, you already, since the contributions that has been already collected in a grants period are visible to everyone, and the number, and also, yeah, the size of contributions, you can quickly see, okay, obviously here this grant has a lot of contributors, it seems to be very valuable or prominent or popular, and those, according to the Matthew effect, those grants are able to then collect even more contributions, while other grants with only limited number of contributions or size of contributions, of course, might even deter others from donating. And this is what is meant by the Matthew effect.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So that's important to consider. So I was thinking, as you were describing that, Angela, how that might unfold, and sort of one organization, well, I guess the Matthew effect, how one organization could change where it might fit the purpose of Gitcoin grants really well, but sort of as it grows and as it scales, and based on the effectiveness of the Gitcoin grants, I guess that's what we would want. Um, so one way that I see that is having Gitcoin plug into the greater ecosystem. So I've been thinking about this quite a bit of like from getting a especially a social good project or some sort of social good project. I'm seeing this sort of from inception to growth. There's this path, and like I really like the Giveth platform. I feel like that could be like a step zero kind of launch pad to get a small amount of funding for a project to just bootstrap and kind of get its vision together and put something on the Giveth platform and get some small donations. And then that enables it to sort of start into its phase one and initialize its, like you said, communications and organization enough to then go for the Gitcoin platform, where that's like phase number two. And then it can go through Gitcoin to get funded and build some momentum and get more visibility in the ecosystem. But then there might be this sort of phase three, like this. Maybe we should have a well-defined path post Gitcoin grants when a project is self-sustaining and and maybe this is like a VC world, or maybe this is a token launch, like a fair launch or something along these lines. But maybe having a well-defined like exit paths post successful Gitcoin grants. Or maybe projects don't necessarily need funding. Maybe they will be self-sustaining after that, or maybe they will launch like a kind of token launch that produces the economics for the system. And maybe that, I guess we live in the crypto economy, right? So maybe that would make the most sense. But I guess just having some sort of guidelines of like, well, that's hard to define because we're in this crypto world. It's like there's infinite creativity and possibilities. So
Yeah, and I mean, I also see this path or any kind of a path. So Gitcoin grants not suitable for all kinds of projects, and I think this is also can be seen in the grants and how they evolve over time, how they, at what point they join and try to attract contributions at Gitcoin grants, and at what point they start to become inactive at Gitcoin grants. I think this is kind of an emerging behavior also based on the range of opportunities you have in Gitcoin grants. And I just think that, how is this relevant for the algorithm itself? Because as you say, this is rather information around it and a definition of what is the focus of Gitcoin grants, and not that much, can't be steered that much by the algorithm. But yeah, sometimes you try to optimize A and it would be better to optimize B.
Yeah, I guess it's important to consider sort of the boundary between the algorithm and the intentions of the community and the ecosystem and the brand and the mission statements and yeah.
I mean, I don't know, perhaps it would be interesting to see, okay, now let's collect behavioral patterns on the grant side as well as on the contributor side, and then just specify or filters, okay, this is in the algorithms, on the algorithms area of effects, and this is beyond, or just a totally different area.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's so much. I mean, this is so early, right? This is really a new experiment, and it's so good to have this research group just to get so much exposure and so many different people with different backgrounds, eyeballs reading the paper and participating on the platform. And yeah, there's so much happening out there. There's so many things to sort of divide our attention in a good way. Like in crypto generally, it's cool, all the new projects coming out, but it's nice to have this time to like bring the focus back and just stare at this one thing that is very powerful and a very useful solution for the whole ecosystem, and just stare at it long enough that we start to see like the additional details. Like I was just going through
Mm.
on gitcoin on the platform the other day, they have these quests, sort of learning quests, and
Hmm.
I think it's so cool. I think they did a really really good job. I mean, I was having so much fun just learning about Solidity contracts and DeFi mechanisms and roll-ups and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's easy to overlook, like when there's brand new things coming out every day. It's easy to kind of overlook some things, but the Gitcoin platform alone has so many great aspects to it. I mean, it can be used as like a social platform. It's got the whole bounty system, and I'm me personally. I've kind of touched all these points a little bit, but I think it'll take a long time to get really to ingrain the intuition around what this enables and what this unlocks, and then really utilizing it, like using the bounty systems. Nico and I were working on the Spirit Foundation project, and we had a bug that we were trying to solve, and we thought probably someone out there could solve this really fast. So we went to create a Gitcoin bounty, but at that time it was like $2,000 in gas, in gas fees. So yeah.
Yeah, it might have been more. I think like I remember it was like 10K or something. So yeah, that's I was actually like kind of like biting my tongue because I really wanted to ask if there's like any like plans to bring Gitcoin onto like XDAI. I know you guys love XDAI.
I think they have been taking a range of measures to reduce gas fees. For example, this checkout, second layer, layer 2 checkout process. And that's why I think they don't plan to move to XDAI at the moment, since they also want to enable all kinds of token contributions. Whatever token might be the favorite token to contribute.
Cool. So they're not planning any like side chains right now, are they? Like any sidechain deployments for the contracts?
I mean, I haven't better. If you want to have the full picture, better ask Oboki. But I haven't seen anything in that regards. And well, considering they want to enable all kinds of ERC20 token contributions, I wouldn't assume that they take side chains, rather layer 2 optimization, gas cost reductions.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, but I mean, Gitcoin Grants is also a good example for this. Okay, you might be able to build a really great range of mechanisms around your ecosystem purpose, and then, as a token engineer, how to orchestrate and how to make sure this is all going into the direction you have in mind as your purpose. So this is, in a way, it's a great exercise. I wonder how this is relevant also at Boson, since there is a strong purpose, and now you can go with all kinds of measures how to steer your ecosystem in this direction using your tokens, and it's becoming complex very, very quickly, and then how to handle this complexity.
Yeah, exactly.
I was
Because
just thinking about this last night. So because there's like a boson DAO, right? Just like there's like there's like an ocean DAO. And I was thinking like, whoa, like it would be really cool to use like quadratic funding for this DAO. I mean, yeah, but then that's like it brings up like this question with like other chains and stuff. And then I started thinking like, okay, like is there a standardized way of doing this? Like, or is it all through Gitcoin? So yeah.
Or a generalized way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, when I enrolled in this Gitcoin course, I was thinking about leveraging the stuff I would be learning to my business for local government, because at local government they are really struggling with, let's say, tendering processes and keeping out the usual suspects. May sound familiar, because local government is being haunted by big companies doing their IT. And I'm trying to leverage the gitcoin model in order to, well, let's say, build up a new ecosystem around their IT suppliers in the gitcoin way. So maybe funding, as Angela said, maybe phase 3 kind of communities or projects or businesses that have some components that together would be nice to have in a local government ecosystem, or supporting their IT for that matter. So I'm trying to leverage the gitcoin model to local government in a way. And all these kinds of issues you are mentioning right now, like basically the quadratic funding thing is a resource allocation problem, but it starts with the purpose of the ecosystem in the first place. We have DAOs to do that. So my endeavor, I would say, my quest, is to see how can we leverage these thoughts, which came from some sort of a social good kind of movement, into the real world of doing business. And government is some sort of a nice playground, I think, because they need to, well, basically they have a purpose of let's say, social impact or social good or public good, for that matter.
Makes total
so
sense.
that's resonating there.
And who are contributors and voters in your system?
Yeah, the contributors are government grants, or no, the matchers are the government grants, and the contributors are, basically the local government itself, because they have funding, but also other people that are seeing, basically they're seeing stuff happening in their community, in their local community, and they want to fix it, like a mini Bill Gates kind of type, which is saying, okay, I want this neighborhood fixed up, and I will donate a certain amount of money to the government to fix that. But how do you allocate those resources in a proper way?
So it's like a quadratic democracy kind of. It's which is the way I see Gitcoin anyways. But it's like the government might have some um the people who represent representatives, right? They have the representatives, and maybe each representative can vote on the allocation
Yeah,
of
sure.
resources.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
then there could be this
But also
quadratic.
also the residents
Yeah.
themselves, if
Yeah.
they have some skin in the game.
Yeah, that's a more direct approach. Especially, I mean, if you use digital systems, then this kind of thing becomes accessible with low
Yeah.
logistic overhead. And yeah, I mean, I wonder if the Gitcoin platform could be cloned and maintained, like a fork maintained by a sort of government body that uses this system, and it's the people, the inhabitants, can authenticate with Web3. I mean, it's
Yeah,
so easy. It's already
exactly.
built, right? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Because
Web3 is
actually,
like,
this was one of the elements I won the hackathon from Odyssey with. Because I pitched this model to the jury, and they found it very far-fetched, but interesting.
And you told them, hey, we only need to fork it. That's it.
No, well, I was just explaining how things work in the decentralized world, and
Yeah.
this stuff is very new to them, and also new to us, of course. But then again, we're token engineers, so we're the front runners of the next innovation.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so much here, so much value. When you think about normal government budgets on IT infrastructure, it's like millions of dollars, right? And so,
Huge.
yeah, if you tell them, "Hey, all, all we got to do is fork this. It's ready to go."
Yeah.
Um, well, usually there's the response where they can't believe it, right? They don't think they can.
Yeah,
They
I
think they have.
explained to them that
Yeah.
I explained to them that they need only 1/10 of their budget
Yeah.
in order to get this running.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah, but they
just
don't believe me.
exactly. There's a resist. Yeah, with my
It's-
experience with government, that means they're not going to go for the project. If it's 1/10 the budget, then there's no way it's
yeah,
feasible.
yeah, exactly. Well, that's why I make a living in making up for the other half.
Yep, that's the way it goes. Good for you, Mark. That is a good. There's a business model. Hey, just bringing decentralized models to governments.
Well, this is exactly my business model. What I'm trying to achieve here. Because they're really, they like these kinds of innovations,
Hmm.
and they need consultants to help them with this. And I am such a consultant.
Hmm. Interesting. Well, me and Nico have a meeting with the Canadian government here in March, around March 1st, I think. So I'll take some notes from your playbook, Mark.
Yeah, I will send you over a presentation for that
Excellent.
matter.
Thank you. That's awesome.
It's
Yeah.
based actually it's based on the sustainability loop of Trent.
Oh, Nico just wrote an article on that for Boson, actually, the d-commerce sustainability loop.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great innovation. It's a great way that Trent laid that out.
Hmm.
Yeah, share the link. I'd love to see that
Yeah,
article.
I will have to dig into my presentation, my slide deck somewhere, and I will publish it
I
somewhere.
mean, the boson sustainability loop, because I was just waiting for the next project who is adapting it and applying it to their own ecosystem. Cool.
Yeah, Ocean Protocol, um, I mean Trent and the whole Ocean Protocol, they made all the maps for how to make this. I mean, they put out so much. Like if you look at their Medium page, they have like over 100 articles, right? And they've just been doing this for years. So there's so much content there to mine through and reuse for making a DAO with this sustainability model. I mean, there's other ways you could make a DAO, but Ocean Protocol has fleshed out so many concepts across the board, token engineering and sort of like fiscal policy and community growth and DeFi mechanisms. Like it's really nice to have that foundation to build on top of with Boson because it maps really well. It's a very similar product. It's just kind of expanding instead of data marketplaces, it's thing marketplaces and
Mm,
they have this extra solution that is the peer-to-peer commerce through game theory, right? So you basically take that piece and put that on Ocean Protocol, then you get this potential for decentralized commerce. So it's nice to have those maps to follow.
absolutely.
But yeah, that I don't know if Nico wants to comment on his article, but it's just under review by the team now, so I think it should come out pretty soon.
Yeah, yeah, I think it just got published actually.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Send a link.
Nope. Where do I send it? This here?
Maybe in the tech lab.
Oh, cool.
Wow. This is awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Nice.
And yeah, Mark, if you want to share your slides, that's going to be super useful as well when you get a chance.
Yeah, actually, I was looking through my map somewhere. I have it somewhere, but it's a huge file. But I will put it in my on my public drive, and I'll share the link. Also, it.
Oh, you could put it on Ocean Protocol.
Yeah, I guess. So, Sean, any updates on your reinforcement learning agent coding?
Well, I think I'm really happy to have that very clean example of like a minimal working custom environment. So I think we can take that and basically splice it into wherever we need reinforcement learning. So we can open up the energy web simulator, I was thinking, but you know what? Did you push your latest code? Because it seems like, yeah, I'm just wondering, did you push to your energy web branch there?
No, I haven't. I haven't pushed any of the reinforcement learning agent stuff there yet because I haven't got time yet to fix that.
So I was thinking we could just book another TEC lab, and now that we have this clean stable baselines 3 example, we could probably in a lab session we could splice that in, and well, we might want to do a little bit of, we might have to sort of think about refining the, whether it's the action space or the observation space, etc. But
Yeah, exactly. I really need help with that
oh yeah,
from
so
you.
that's what I wanted
Yeah.
to do. There's that piece that it's like I really want to make an agent, and I might just do this similar to what I did with this idea of like a encapsulated toy example. So I'll just make it outside of the simulator, but I want to make a simple machine learning system that just reads in the energy data and makes a reasonable forecast. And then yeah, so I think we can actually implement all the components, right? So we can have the optimizer, we can make an optimizer agent that just reads
Yeah.
in the energy data and makes a forecast, and then that forecast goes over to the staker agent, which is can actually read that forecast and do again some actually that's the observation space, right? It reads the optimization data, and well, it we need to think about what it needs to know relatively. Like it needs to have a consistent idea of the energy out the energy producers and the energy optimizers so that it can
Mm.
maintain a sort of memory of the performance of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should do, yeah, Mark, we should probably do an offline session, like a
Yeah.
workshop kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think on the week, like we can pick a weekend maybe and put a few hours in, and probably we could get everything working. And then maybe we could take like a final lab session to
Yeah.
present it.
Yeah. Sounds good to me. Yeah. I just noticed that yeah the simulation of the data is still running, so we have a data set available for that. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, this is a pretty groundbreaking project. I mean, I think it would be nice to see this kind of thing deployed. Well, I know
Yeah. I was
there's.
talking to
Mhm.
yeah. I was talking to the Energy Web guys. They really see some potential, but they need a real, some sort of a concrete use case for that. And then I was hooking up with Lior from DataDAO to put something together. But yeah, resource issues, time.
I know. Yeah, how do we? That's the biggest problem to solve. All these brilliant token engineers with no time.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, if
I
we.
found my
Mhm.
I found my slide deck, but I need to anonymize something. But then if I have done that, then I will put it in the Tech Labs channel.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark.
Okay, well, it was nice chatting up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, too bad we didn't get
Um,
more. I guess everyone's working away on their projects.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I have to go as well. So, well, thanks, Sean, for this really nice, well, bonfire talk.
Yeah.
So we need to, need to get some work done. That's true.
Yeah, so let's book a weekend, Mark. Maybe the following weekend after this one. We can do. Yep, that actually works for me if we can do it on a Saturday. And maybe see if if we can loop in Lior as well.
Yeah. I guess that would suit me somewhere. Yeah, you're late in the afternoon for my time, I guess. Could be working.
I'll let you sort out your schedule
Yeah.
and see. Have a great weekend and see you on Tuesday, I guess.
All right.
Thanks,
All
Angela.
right.
Yeah.
See you Tuesday.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you
Bye bye.
too. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Nico.
Thanks, Sean. Yo, Sean.
Yep.
I was thinking
Bye,
like how could
guys. Thank you.
See you, Vitor.
bye, Vitor. I was thinking like how could we like load data into these like because bro, it's literally the intersection between like the bots because we essentially have to like um dude, it's just such a mind-blowing thing. We have to like replay the data just like we did it with training like crypto bots, you know what I mean? Because it's like going through time. Like I
Yep.
guess like what I'm trying to say is like yeah, like people are staking and they're trying to figure out how to stake better. And I feel like the only way that we can do this is with Amazon data or with eBay data, where we can like put in like review after review depending on what time step it's on. And then like the reviews like are like what impacts like the actual the actual like ratios, right? Like
So you're saying
you
we
know.
actually make intelligent agents in Boson Spice that are reading real world data and learning how to stake appropriately on products?
Yeah, exactly. And also like also by doing that like trying to hack the system almost and shit like you know what I'm saying like trying to find those like glitches because dude like after you sent me that podcast like I've just been thinking like okay like our mission with these simulations is to break boson essentially, you know what I'm saying? So I think that might be the best way, just like
Yeah,
making
find the edge cases, right? It's like find the unhappy paths, as they always talk about the happy path, right? It's like our job is to find every way that it can break and give that to the team and be like, hey, here's a way it can break. Like, just be mindful of this,
hmm
and then they can go to work, right? And make because as of now, like if everything goes along the happy path forever, then like Boson's already successful, right? It's going to be a great token launch. It's going to be a great product. Like everyone's going to be happy forever. But and they don't need us in that case. But the reason we're there, the reason they hire us, is to like find all the possibilities where it's not a happy case and like
hmm
give them the information as soon as possible so that they can engineer around that and mitigate that and be prepared for it.
hmm
So yeah, so I think running these agents in bosons. I mean, this is just the ultimate exercise for us. It's like so many birds with one stone, like making these kind of intelligent agents in boson spice that are consuming real world data and then making actionable decisions on them.
yeah, 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 no, I definitely feel you. Like I guess like all I was thinking was like okay like with this like energy web stuff which is like that's what you guys are doing, right? It's just like
Yeah,
making this like reinforcement learning
yeah.
um agents off of this like energy data, like from where? Where's this at?
It's actually from Energy Web. So Energy Web is a way that's like the infrastructure for energy producers to like put their data on blockchain. Yeah, it's basically
Right.
that's what it is. And then Mark expands that and says, okay, since the energy data is on blockchain, we can have energy optimizers who are like tracking this data and forecasting like when and where energy is going to be available or in surplus or in demand or etc. So then it's these optimizers who are kind of predicting the future and saying like how the energy should be routed now. And then it's the stakers' jobs to stake on the optimizers and give them stake on the ones that are more accurate and more effective, so that everyone, it's incentive alignment, so that the optimizers who perform the best are getting rewarded, and the stakers who stake on the best optimizers are also getting rewarded, so that we get this like really high optimization output that kind of knows where to send energy at what point in time.
That's literally boson though. That's literally what we need.
Yeah,
Is it not? That's
it's
literally what we need.
exactly what we need. Yeah.
Instead of energy data, we just have to use uh
Amazon
just like
data.
replayed commerce data. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh.
so we can hack on this right away. I mean, I've always wanted to open up the Amazon API. I know that there's a lot of data you can get from there. I don't know what exactly, but I think we have to do that. Like we should do that now, basically.
Yep.
'Cause it's what I say, like nothing gets left behind, right? If we always just tackle these things as soon as we think of them, then we have this ever-growing collection repertoire of like components. Like if we just know that, oh, if we need Amazon data, yep, we have that. It's in our kit. Look, one line of code we just import from tests like yesterday, and bam, we have a giant data set of Amazon data available.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
Nice,
I'll get out
nice.
the Jupyter notebook. Dude, Danilo yesterday just like blew my mind when he opened Jupyter notebook with VS Code. I was like, bro, it's game over.
Yeah, that is awesome. You probably just didn't notice that before because he's always done that. It's it's subtle.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like
Yeah.
he's just in VS Code, but it's actually Jupyter Jupyter Notebook.
Cool. All right. Do you want to stream or should I?
Oh, you go ahead.
Cool. Yeah, I'll get out of there. Dude, I tried to refactor token space and like, oh my God. That was a crazy task.
How would you refactor it?
Here I can show you. I refactored. Yeah, so this is what I did.
Spicy burrito, hey?
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I was hacking on token spice and I was like, bro, this is gonna like melt anybody's mind who like looks at this. So I just ripped out everything and I just put like agents, reward giving agent, tokens, commitment token, think token, settings, constants, and some state. And then everything else I just left in core.
Okay, slow down, slow down, slow down. Start again. Just
So
a bit slower so I can comprehend it.
yeah, fair. Cool. So I just took token spice
Yeah.
and I took I just said, okay, we're gonna need like tokens,
Yeah.
like commitment tokens, sync tokens. Like I'm just making those like as easy as possible for like Peter and like Rio and stuff. And so in settings I put like constants and simstate, and for myself and anybody else who wants to use it.
Okay.
But and then in agents I just put reward giving agent. So like my idea is that like whenever we need to kind of like wire something up, we can just go in the sim state. And so yeah, like I've been like refactoring all the imports and stuff. Um, and anything else that like we might not need that's just like in the nitty gritty of token spice, like it's just left in this core folder. So all we have to worry about are these like three other
Wait,
folders.
open up core
Yeah,
and oh, you have like agents, contracts, engine.
yeah. This is like all the ocean stuff.
Cool. This makes sense. Yeah.
Hmm. So yeah.
Yeah, ganache. Okay, nice. So tokens, open up core again. Open up Web3 engine.
Hmm.
So We need this. Okay, but we can access this through core. That's fine.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's still a work in progress. Like there's still like some bugs that I have to figure out.
Do the
So it's just
tests run?
no,
Okay,
like the
makes
they're running
sense.
more than yesterday, but yeah, we can just hack on like regular token spice. I already had code there. It's just like I got to this point where I was like, man, like like if I don't get like organized with this token spice stuff, like it's just gonna eat me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we got to be organized with it.
yeah, because like I kind of started off by like just like making this reward giving agent, which just like loops iterates through the stakers and gives them their assigned piece. But
We need a way. Yeah, like organization is key here. So this is
mm,
where Matt's sort of brain is important, right? Because he abstracts everything away
yeah,
from token engineering and just says, how do we have a system that we can upgrade and reuse? And I like this idea of like upgradable apps. So it's like you take out, if we want to make, what do we want to make? We want to make like this Amazon, someone who stakes on products. So this would be a token spice app. So it's like it would be its own GitHub repository with like an agent, and this is one way to do it. I don't know if this is optimal. Maybe it's just growing the complexity.
no, I think you're right. I think you're right. Like that's what I'm thinking too. Like we have to separate like our work from core token spice, essentially.
Yeah, we almost need
Like
a whole
yeah,
team working on this in parallel to us actually getting shit done. It's like we almost need to. It's like you and I would do best if we literally just hack like how you have it now, and we just keep hacking on it, hacking, 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 and getting results. Like, but then
mhm,
if we need like another team in parallel who's just watching all this and reading like design pattern books and like thinking about how to optimally enable us, right? Almost like a DevOps team, just
yeah,
seeing our workflow and being like, oh, I know what you guys need. I'm gonna give
yeah.
you.
Like a DevOps team on token spice would be killer.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it's like the whole thing with token engineering. It's like, well, not that many people have like taken the token spice course, you know?
That we're creating.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should make a token
Yeah.
spice course.
Dude, I'm down, man. I was like just telling like I was talking to my parents about it yesterday. I'm like, yeah, like nobody knows it. Therefore it um like it's like so rare for token engineers right now. But at the same time like by us teaching it to people like we're generating value and
Mm.
people like will like literally hire us just because we're generating value. You know, it's like
Yeah,
this like like principle of reciprocity, right?
yeah, yeah.
So like the person who like teaches the complex subject is not like somehow like devaluing themselves. They're actually valuing themselves even more because like the teacher is like almost like the most valuable in the subject.
Well, think about like Zargum with CAD, right? That's what he's done.
Yeah.
He's created and he taught people, and then those people taught people, and then those people taught people, and then they made a course out of it. Like he got to define the paradigms of how to look at CAD and how to approach it and how to use it because he created it, obviously. And but it's the educational piece that I'm really talking about. Like you can look on YouTube and literally the first year of CAD, 2018, there's like dozens of talks of Zargum just going around and giving talks, right, about CAD
Yeah.
and the philosophy behind it and why it's useful. And that's what it takes. Like now, CAD is famous. Like if every token engineer knows CAD, but not because it's the best piece of software in the world. It's because of the momentum behind like the education and the awareness and the community and all that stuff. So this is what Token Spice could use.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think we can do it, and it'd be cool.
Yeah.
Like,
So there's
I think.
just like we need to be able, the key here is that if we can always work in parallel. If we
Hmm.
always know what we're doing. So one, we have two things in front of us right now. We have this idea of like scraping Amazon data, and then we also have this idea of getting that data, essentially getting that data into Token Spice here.
Hmm.
So what we can do is, how I've been working in that boson protocol tokenomics repository, and everything is like it's all modular models.
Yeah.
You can actually import that into tokens. So you can go like import boson protocol into Token Spice and use that. So if we make like this AWS data consumer,
Hmm.
that
Okay.
gets nice clean AWS data. Then I can build that out in the Boson tokenomics repository, and
Mhm.
then in here in Spicy Burrito, we can just import Boson protocol tokenomics, and then like from Boson protocol import AWS fetcher or whatever.
Yeah. 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 I totally agree. But like, wouldn't we? No, I guess we just have to send the state. Yeah. So like, let's just look at some agents. Um. Yeah. Yeah. I guess you're right, dude. Wait, would we have to have like the base agent? Like, would we just like how would that work if we made a module without the base agent? Or
Oh, because it wouldn't be an agent, right? It's like this idea of fetching Amazon data. It's agnostic. It can be a property of an agent. We can later define an agent that has a function that says grab AWS data, and it just calls our AWS fetcher.
yeah, let's do it.
So the more disconnected components we have, the better. Like we want everything to run by itself. Like any sort of utility like this, like grabbing data, processing data, charting data, we can have it all independent. And then when we're wiring up agents, they can just easily grab. They have basically have access to that functionality that we've made.